Hello, Tyler. Hopefully we'll get you on FaceTime today. Here is the story of Mr. Sneeze. Ready for beddy. Did you enjoy the bedtime bear last night? I hope so. Right. This is Coldland, which is a country somewhere near the North Pole. The weather in Coldland is winter all the time. When it isn't snowing, it's freezing, and when it isn't freezing, it's snowing. So you can imagine how cold it is. A bit like here at the moment, eh? Because it's so cold in Coldland, everybody who lives there is cold as well. You can tell if somebody comes from Coldland because everybody there has a red nose. And people in Coldland aren't the only ones with red noses. In Coldland, you can see red-nosed dogs chasing red-nosed cats, chasing red-nosed mice. In Coldland, you can even see red-nosed elephants. And what you hear most of the time in Coldland is a noise that sounds like this. The sound of the sneeze is very common indeed in Coldland, which is not very surprising at all, is it? Achoo! This is the story, whoops daisy, this is the story of Mr. Sneeze, who lived in a small snow-covered cottage in Shivertown, the capital of Coldland. That sounds cold, doesn't it? Every morning Mr. Sneeze woke up, sneezed, got up, sneezed, got dressed, sneezed, went downstairs, sneezed, ate his breakfast, sneezed, and went to work still sneezing. Oh dear, and he's got a red nose. I don't like this sneezing all the time, he thought to himself every day, until one day he decided to leave Coldland and try to find a cure for the sneezes. So that very same day, Mr. Sneeze packed the things he'd need for his journey, mainly handkerchiefs. Sneezed, locked his front door, sneezed and set off. He walked and sneezed and walked his way across Coldland. And then he sneezed and walked and sneezed for days and days until Coldland was far behind. As he walked away from Coldland, he noticed that there was less and less snow, and eventually he walked so far there was no snow at all. And as he walked, he noticed something else. He wasn't walking and sneezing, he was walking and walking. For the first time in his life, he wasn't sneezing. Not at all, not a bit. Not even the tiniest. I wonder why I'm not sneezing, he thought to himself. But he must have thought his thought out loud to himself, because a voice behind him replied, "You're not sneezing because you haven't got a cold." Mr. Sneeze jumped, turned, and there behind him stood a wise old wizard. "What's a cold?" asked Mr. Sneeze. "A cold is what you catch when you're too cold," said the wise old wizard wisely. "Oh," said Mr. Sneeze, "but I come from a country called Coldland where everybody is too cold all the time." "Nonsense," snorted the wizard. "It can't be too cold all the time because of the sun." And he pointed to the sun, which was smiling in the sky. "But we don't have any sun." Oh, there he's disappeared then. "We don't have any sun in Coldland," said Mr. Sneeze. "No sun!" exclaimed the wizard. "How extremely, extraordinarily extraordinary. We'd better do something about that then, hadn't we?" "Yes," agreed Mr. Sneeze, not quite knowing what the wizard was talking about. "How far away is this place called Coldland?" asked the wizard. "Oh, it's miles and miles and miles away," replied Mr. Sneeze. "In which direction?" asked the wizard. Mr. Sneeze pointed. "Shouldn't take long," said the wizard, who then waved his magic wand and muttered some magic words, which wouldn't be magic if he told you what they were. See, he's got his magic wand. Whatever those magic words were, they worked. Before you could say sneeze, both the wizard and Mr. Sneeze were transported to Shivertown, which you will remember is the capital of Coldland. As usual, it was snowing. "I say, this is a cold, gloomy place," said the wizard. "A tissue," replied Mr. Sneeze, who had started sneezing again. "That's not good, is it? It's got his cold again." "Coldland certainly needs some sunshine," said the wizard, "and that's going to take some rather special magic." "Please hurry up," said Mr. Sneeze, who was rapidly turning into a snowman. "Now," said the wizard, ignoring him, "I'm going to say some magic words, and I want you to sneeze 3 times immediately afterwards." The wise old wizard then held up his magic wand and muttered some more magic words, which again wouldn't be magic if we told you what they were. A tissue, a tissue, a tissue, sneezed Mr. Sneeze. Then quite suddenly, as if by magic, which indeed it was, the sun came out from behind the big black clouds and it stopped snowing. There now, said the wizard. That should stop the sneezing. And then, after muttering some more magic words, and without waiting even to say goodbye, he disappeared. Mr. Sneeze just stood there in the sunshine, watching the snow begin to melt. After that, the sun shone every day, and today Cold Land isn't anything like it used to be. You can't see red-nosed dogs chasing red-nosed cats, chasing red-nosed mice anymore. And these days, the sound of the sneeze is a very uncommon sound indeed. And even Mr. Sneeze doesn't sneeze anymore. And that isn't the only thing that's different about Mr. Sneeze, as he discovered when he looked in the mirror one morning. Can you see what's different about Mr. Sneeze? I don't know. Can you see, Tyler? It happened one other time too. See if you can find where that page was. Now, what do we think it is? Do we think it's the fact that he's smiling? Is he smiling? There as well. See, the sunshine makes us smile. Right, well, we've had Mr. Tickle, Mr. Greedy, Mr. Happy, Mr. Nosy, Mr. Sneeze. So tomorrow we'll have Mr. Bump. Okay? Right. So I think if you're listening to this, it's time for bed now. So it's night-night, darling. I'll speak to you.
Tyler.
Love you loads and loads and loads.
Sleep tight. Watch out for the tickle monster.
Oh, hopefully the tickle monster came last night with Tickle Me Too. And the other one is, if you've got any books you want me to read to you, what you've got to do is let me know. Because I know you like Harry and the Dinosaurs.
And Mr. Big.
And Mr. Big. And the giant one.
Oh,
the best dressed giant in town, wasn't it?
He's good.
Okay, so if you want a different one, you have to tell me.
I think Nana needs to clean her thumb.
Why? Love you.
Love you, darling. Sleep
Bye.
tight.
Bye. 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 Bye.